welcome back to Cyber Unbound's podcast. Today we have a very special guest with us. We have Mr. Kathan Desai, co-founder at BugBase, which is India's largest bug bounty platform. Kathan is one of the youngest entrepreneurs in India building in cybersecurity, and many aspiring entrepreneurs, many young founders look up to him, including me. So, Kathan, it's truly a pleasure to have you today, and thank you so much for taking up the time.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm happy to be here, talking to you, and also speaking about our experiences, our journey while building Workbase to everyone else.
Right. So, Kathan, let's start from the beginning. What inspired you to start BugBase, and what was the initial vision behind BugBase?
Sure. I mean, we started almost 4 years ago, wherein we started off itself as a bug bounty platform, nothing much, right? We had a vision to build a continuous vulnerability assessment platform, which sort of we are now targeting and trying to build out. The first product that we built was bug bounty platform, and that came via our own experiences of doing bug bounty programs for other companies right across the globe. We faced ourselves as an issue that we, as bug bounty hunters, were not able to report vulnerabilities to companies, specifically in India. Right? We knew that it's a globally solved problem, wherein companies like Google, Microsoft, Apple have been running the bug bounty program for quite a long time, and they accept vulnerabilities from researchers across the world. Second thing was researcher community in India is one of the largest. I would in fact say that ethical hackers across the globe, 25 to 30% would be at least from India, right? We just because of the size of population that we have. Indians have been acing the bug bounty across the globe. If you even compare it with any Fortune 500 company running the bug bounty program, if you see their leaderboards and you will find Indian researchers everywhere over there, right? In fact, triagers, who are people who are handling and filtering out the bug reports, bug bounty reports, are also Indians, right? So, Indian security landscape is pretty. Indians are actually leading the security landscape across the world, right? So, that was the first thought process. We started off in April itself. I guess we are completing 4 years now in 2021, wherein we started off building the very very basic of the platform. It was just company can have a form on our website. It was simplest of the platform, and they can accept the vulnerability. Right now we have much more detailed services and platform features which actually helps organizations. So we kicked off with that, released our MVP in 2 months, got demo calls from customers across the world. That's how we realized that it could actually solve a problem. Within next couple of months, we dropped out of our college and started building this full time.
Got it. So, how did you first meet your co-founder Dhruva, and you also have your CTO Sitaraman? So, how did you first meet them, and then how did you motivate them to build BugBase forward?
Yeah, so me and Dhruva were high school friends. We have been together since eighth grade and building a lot of companies, products as well. A lot of hackathons we have participated in together. So I knew Dhruva from high school itself. Luckily, we end up got to a same college, Manipal Institute, wherein we found other two our co-founders as well, Aditya Pila and Sitaraman. Aditya is actually our CTO, very great guy. Sitaraman is the CIO. I mean, definitely both of them work on the product side, product development, but have their own different job roles.
Got it. So, was this started as a college project or a hackathon?
I mean, we were the COVID batch, right? So mostly we have spent our time at our places in COVID. So this was back in April 2021, wherein all of us were home or just about to go to college, right? We had ample amount of free time at our home. We built our Discord server. Four of us got together, started building a platform first, right? Not thinking of it as a company. In couple of months, when we launched our MVP and started getting traction, we then started registering our firm itself. Me and Dhruva were pretty sure about making this into a formal startup, just because we had previously worked on two projects which were at a scale of startup. We were just about to launch, right? Just because we were in school, we had boards, we could not launch it properly, right? So we had to do one of those projects into a company. It was we were one of the projects was the bug bounty project. Another was an AI yoga posture correction app. So that was one another option, and we had one telemedicine app, right? So out of these three, we chose bug bounty to go ahead at that particular time, and it's going great now for us.
So you mentioned that you were a COVID batch, and starting a cybersecurity company as a student is a very bold move in India. So what were some challenges you faced when building BugBase, when launching BugBase for that matter, and what were some challenges you faced personally as a student?
It's a wrong perspective to see, right? It's not just cybersecurity that is challenging. It's any startup. If you are starting for the first time, even at an age of 40 years after somebody has worked in the industry of cybersecurity for, let's say, at least 20 years, we consider somebody started working at 20, they have worked till 40 years of age. They have 20 years of work X. Or even after that, starting or building a company in itself, it's tough, right? How do you ensure that people work with you? You need to ensure that the output of them is perfectly all right. You need to ensure that the market is right when you are starting a particular business. Lot of hundreds of thousands of factors that matter, which leads to a startup's probability to be successful, right? So I would not think that it's like just particularly for cybersecurity. Even if we would have started so many other business, people would have questioned that as well. So not focusing on that, definitely cybersecurity being more technical, and people in India do fear hacks and everything related to cybersecurity, right? It's not that people are not that much aware of how security works in general overall. Definitely, people in the industry would be, but if you speak to our parents or somebody else who is not in the industry, might not be even aware of what bug bounty was 4 years back. So definitely a lot of challenges came in general itself. It's related to cybersecurity. Definitely the market has grown quite a lot in last 4 years, and a lot of other startups have also came in, and they are also putting in equal amount of efforts in growing the market overall. That has helped. With regards to age, luckily we haven't gotten that 10% people would be definitely be thinking, okay, you are just kids not being able to build a platform. But mostly everyone else who finds value in the product will definitely use it, right? So uh, aside of all the things, it's the tough part is to build a business, not a particular cybersecurity business, is any business in general, right? So that comes with any startup that you build.
Got it. So you mentioned that the market has grown within the 4 years for cybersecurity in bug bounty. I think India is still very young for the cybersecurity space. So how do you see bug base shaping India's culture of ethical hacking, bug bounty, cybersecurity?
I wouldn't say that cybersecurity, like India is still young for cybersecurity. So you need to understand how every market works, right? In US, just because the compliance are so tough, right? Big companies, and definitely the economy is bigger over there. So people do invest a lot more just in terms of revenue multiples in security than compared to Indian organizations. But that doesn't mean that Indian organizations are not well aware about what security is, right? We have some of the most technical CISOs in India who represent India not just in Asia Pacific but globally as well, right? We just spoke about how ethical hacker crowd is one of the best in India, right? So Indian security landscape has always been, not just security, but India has been the core technical back offices for a lot of organizations, right? So Indian people, we do tend to be good at stuff related to engineering and technicalities, right? So we are growing good in terms of revenue now. So wherein or investment into security now, wherein organizations are more focusing and investing on security, that is definitely growing, and that's a function of how well companies invest in IT in general, right? So security budget comes under IT budget. So if more and more companies are utilizing advanced technology, let's say now AI, organizations are now deploying more and more AI, right? So as in when new technology comes in, definitely the cybersecurity budget increases, right? More companies are building products, which is not just SaaS platform, but tools that can be used by somebody individually, right? People are building more B2C platform. Even retail businesses have a D2C website wherein they can directly sell to customers, right? So everybody is going tech first, and that is what actually increases uh, investment into cybersecurity. And definitely government is putting in new compliance via the DPDP, the personal data protection bill as well. So such compliances comes in, all of these sort of leads to those investment into security getting increased.
Right. So you mentioned that a lot of companies prefer tech first approach, right? But I still feel that there might be some companies or some traditional companies which might not know about bug bounty platforms. So what are some misconceptions that you have come across from these companies about bug bounty platforms in general?
So, traditionally, VAPT and bug bounty is what people get confused in, right? VAPT is something very different, bug bounty is different. But because a lot of companies have never done a VAPT, never done a bug bounty program, they might not understand the value proposition that a bug bounty program can get in, right? It's all about investment, right? How much they can actually put in the amount of money that could help them run a bug bounty program for a longer time. VAPT is like a one-time engagement. Bug bounty is a 365 days, 24/7 engagement, right? Though our platform provides managed services, but at the end, these companies need to ensure that they are engaging with the researchers 24/7 and the reports coming in. If somebody is reporting you a vulnerability and you keep them cold for 3, 4, 5 months, 6 months, and they you don't reply to them, it's unfair to researchers as well, right? So better not to do a bug bounty program at that point. So bug bounty comes at the end for a company, right? Wherein you start doing a VAPT first, you get a cybersecurity consultancy to handle your third-party cybersecurity initiatives. Can be your red teaming activity, can be a pen testing activity, and the third function then comes as a bug bounty program, right? So setting up your defenses, doing your VAPT, doing your traditional engagements with the third party, it could be any one of the big four companies or any service companies across India, and then choosing a bug bounty platform, right? So it takes time for any company, as we discussed rightly, right? Companies are now investing more in security. So bug bounty comes at a third stage or a later stage wherein companies then tend to start off a bug bounty program. But larger companies in India have a bug bounty program, from a bank to telecom industry to fintechs to B2B SaaS companies. Everybody has a bug bounty program now. So we are seeing a good traction. It's the amount of just matter of time when it becomes a common thing in India as well.
Right. So you have some of the largest customers in your customer base right now.
Yep.
And I'm sure companies are also very active in listing out bug bounty programs. How do you convince companies that bug bounty programs are actually an asset to the company? And how did you first onboard your first 10 customers?
So can you repeat just the first part? I got the how do I get my how did I get my first customer? What did you ask
So
before that?
how do you convince your how do you convince your customers or like different companies that
Yeah.
bug bounty programs are actually asset to the company?
Yeah. So there are two things you can, sort of focus on before onboarding a customer. It is one is the reactive approach, wherein customer has faced some kind of an issue due to which they want a particular solution. Second is proposing them the solution before the issue comes in, right? So my first customer actually came because of them facing an issue, and then the reactive approach to that was choosing a bug bounty as a solution. Probably would not name them because they run a private bug bounty program, but how that worked out was in just after me raising funds. uh, Definitely I had to showcase to my investors as well that I can actually get one customer before we speak to other venture capitalists or investors, right? So I started reaching out to people on LinkedIn. That was the simplest source that I had to actually start contacting anyone. At that stage, I was just 19, and I actually didn't knew that there are websites that through which I can get emails, and I can start cold email campaign, or I can get phone numbers and I can call up people, right? The simplest thing I thought is LinkedIn, right? Which is much more of a formal platform through which I can reach out. Definitely, 20%, 30% would probably at least see my message, right? That was my thought process. I reached out to 50 people. Three or four people replied. One of them said that, okay, I've spoken to my engineering team. Please call them. And I got a number, I got a lead from there. Because it was a reactive approach, we closed the customer within 2 weeks and we started their bug bounty program directly on the platform. That was my first customer. Now, over the time, as and when we grow, the major function has been our cold outreach, but we have been attending a lot of CISO focused events, not particularly trade events, but we chose events wherein only limited set of CISOs who can actually buy a bug bounty program can come, right? So 100 people or 150 people kind of events wherein we started putting up our booth, started meeting them. So 2, 3 years we invested a lot in that and build a name for BugBase, right? Even though if somebody is not looking for a bug bounty program there, building a relationship with them is very important, right? We might give them a referral to somebody if they are hiring, right? So all of that thing, building out a relationship is very important for us or in general in any business. Uh, because of that, and our team has worked a lot on building out a good SEO. So we now tend to get a lot of inbound leads as well, wherein anybody who searches for a bug bounty platform in India, they want to come in and start off working with us. So now it's a function of mix, wherein we do cold outreach to people as well who are looking for bug bounty, and also inbound through SEO.
Right. So you mentioned that a lot of these companies already have an active bug bounty program listed. So is bug bounty also beneficial for startups? And how does BugBase ensures through their bug bounty startup program? I think you have one program. How do you ensure that it benefits startups as well?
So there's one thing called VDP, which is a vulnerability disclosure program, wherein companies so it's like comparing an active program to a passive program. Bug bounty is an active program wherein you are saying researchers and you are inviting researchers, saying that okay, if you please find a vulnerability in our assets, we'll pay you X amount of money, right? While VDP is something like okay, somebody finds a vulnerability, we have a proper channel through which you can actually report it to us rather than keeping it open to yourself or posting it on Twitter. We have a formal channel through which if you can report, we might give out some kind of a swag or a t-shirt. We are a really small company, but we accept that we might have some kind of vulnerabilities in our platform, and we accept that from the public, right? So that showcasing that layer of maturity comes from a VDP program as well for at least somebody like a small startup as well. Through a startup program, we allow companies of smaller scale, which are startups before Series D, they can come in and host a VDP program for on our platform for free. Through that, they can access the community of our platform, but they'll have to manage the program by themselves, and they can accept the vulnerability directly from the platform itself. Right? Basic features, basic integrations, but they get a formal channel through which people can actually report the vulnerabilities to them. In fact, that is also one kind of an ISO compliance, ISO 29147. So having a VDP program or a bug bounty program gets you that ISO 29147, and especially for somebody who is selling into a B2B space and even outside India, right? So companies outside India would ask you if you have a VDP or not, right? So that becomes like a customer request as well for a lot of these startups to host a VDP. So we do allow them to start off as a free VDP program.
Right. So a backbone for any bug bounty platform is always the bug bounty hunters, right? Now, BugBase has a large community of bug bounty hunters. Let's say you have a listed program on your company. Um, how do you ensure that these bug bounty hunters are paid fairly, as well as how do you ensure that these bug bounty hunters are motivated to participate in a given program?
Correct. So, the we act as a platform that helps a company to manage the bounty program, right? We don't generally try to definitely we have been engaged. We are the front wherein through which we engage with the researchers, right? But as a platform, we provide all kind of management features for the company, right? A bug bounty program is very personal thing for a company itself, right? Deciding the amount, so researchers will not hunt on a program wherein they are not happily paid, or company is not happily paying them, right? So it depends entirely on the researchers if they want to hunt it or not, and those companies know this fact, right? Wherein if they put in some low range of bug bounty or bounty rewards, researchers traction is generally less. But if some company, like just 2 days back, we launched a bug bounty campaign for Groww. Right? Groww is India's largest stockbroking app, and also one of the largest bug bounty program across India, one of the largest public programs. Right? So they have been paying out bounties worth of $4,500 for this campaign. So this makes one of the largest bug bounty program for India. So companies are slowly growing, and they realize the worth of one vulnerability for them, right? One critical vulnerability can impact a lot more than a $4,500 for some company. Every company actually in on a larger scale, which is not a startup, right? So they are happy to do so, and as and when the market grows, definitely companies will definitely realize to increase that amount by themselves. As a platform, we do give them the market rate, wherein a particular bank is doing, let's say, $10,000. We'll definitely let them know that this is the kind of ranges that these researchers are getting paid, so that they can actually modify their range. We don't get it, but we don't actually get into ensuring that the uh, program should actually run or fix this much amount of bounty, only then they can run a bug bounty program. It's up to the company how much they want to pay, but we definitely keep on suggesting them the market rates, how the other competitors are putting.
Right. So just to shift the gears, how do you see AI shaping the future of cybersecurity? Because AI is evolving the threats, it's also evolving defense. So how do you see AI shaping the future of bug bounty programs at large?
So something like bug bounty program can never die, right? So AI is also working on past data, right? AI can generate new data, but that also becomes the baseline of it is the past data, right? So AI, I'll come to the benefits of AI, but just talking about bug bounty programs, it's a great way to identify new zero-day particular vulnerabilities for your organization, right? The vulnerability types of vulnerabilities that no tool can identify, which requires human mindset, human contextual understanding of humans contextual understanding of understanding just the core application and the core business, right? If I don't understand what let's say Grow does, right, I'll never be able to try to modify their application or their APIs and try to find a vulnerability in it, right? And AI would never sort of, at least as of now, does not know that, right? Uh, we are trying to do that. I'll not talk about that in detail, but as of that, AI will not be able to know that, and wherein that's where bug bounty hunters comes in, or any other third party security researchers come in and help any organization to find vulnerabilities, and bug bounty just becomes the most effective channel for an organization to actively engage with these security researchers. Coming to the tool that we are building, heavily under development and a lot of investment has been going on across the globe. What we do is we conduct end-to-end red teaming engagements and pen testing engagements, which is orchestrated by an AI agent, right? So as that spoke about, how would an AI or how would a tool know that okay, Grow is a stockbroking app, right? The contextual understanding, getting that contextual understanding was tough, right? Through Pentest Copilot, which is a new tool, we are trying to utilize that, one of the AI agent that we are building, to gather contextual understanding, not just of the company, but of their founders, of their core employees, their CXOs, their partners, the stakeholders of the company, everyone who is related to the company. That builds out the context of a particular organization. And when we start doing testing, when we start running exploits on the company, we do it from an external perspective, internal perspective, wherein we do their active directory testing, phishing, which is a human testing. So from all level, all kind of assets that a company has, we try to exfiltrate data out of that, right? So the AI learns itself, tries to customize payloads and customize playbooks that we have built for those running those exploits for an organization, right? So we are calling it as agentic AI for offensive security. It's a great industry which we see growing, which will help companies to run their initiatives 24/7, running the pen testing and red teaming engagements 24/7. And also, this does not leave bug bounty as a cold driven market, right? Bug bounty still would be needed, right? Because tools will still be based on the data that is, the resource data, the playbooks and exploit data that have been identified earlier, right? New CVEs, new zero-day vulnerabilities will still be able to be exploited and when be identified by uh, bug bounty hunters itself.
Right. So you mentioned about the new product AI Pentest Copilot, right? I think it's one of the best products because I've heard some of the best reviews from our own Cyber Unbound's community of security engineers as well. What I want to understand is that how can ethical hackers or how can bug bounty hunters actually use AI Pentest Copilot, and how should they modify their current strategies of performing VAPT or doing bug bounty?
Yeah, so we have two sides of it to Pentest Copilot. We are actively working on building a full-fledged Copilot tool, which is for enterprises. We launched our consumer product, which is still live, almost 1.5 years, 2 years back, wherein anyone who requires a platform, one was, a Kali Linux instance on SaaS, right, which is itself is a tough job for anyone to, keep having all the tools running parallelly onto your laptop, onto your computer might not be that resource it is very resource intensive, so might not be the most best solution for you, right? So what we did was provide that same instance with all the tools installed into a SaaS solution, right? So you simply log in, you have a Kali Linux instance, you can directly use all the tools that are installed over there and run your test, right? So that's one benefit for any security researcher. Now we realize that AI can run and build a lot of commands and code, right? With GitHub Copilot, what is happening is people are writing code just with single chat prompt. If you think while doing testing, it's also the code that is being run, right? If I'm building a Python script to, let's say, DDoS a website, the same Python script can be written by an AI as well, right? So, Pentest Copilot can do that. It can analyze the next task in your pen testing engagement. You simply need to give it the particular IP address. You need to give it the task that you need to run. Let's say, try to run an end-to-end engagement as soon as vague as possible. It will start from zero, try to get you to the hundredth level itself, right? It's an actually an assistant, right? It will might do some kind of, or might create, let's say, a wrong task, for example, right? You'll have an option to edit the response, you'll have an option to run that script by yourself, and then just simply add in the response of that script into the tool so that the next task can be run very easily and with high accuracy, right? So all those things can be done, and the tool does helps an pen tester to actually run it very seamlessly for them, right?
So, AI Pentest Copilot is one of the products which is the first of its kind in the market, right? There will be more such Pentest Copilots emerging in the market. Uh, More such startups who will try to take inspiration from BugBase. BugBase in the past has already disrupted the Indian market when BugCrowd and other such bug bounty platforms were already existing. Now, what makes BugBase unique from other bug bounty platforms? And how will you ensure that AI Pentest Copilot always remains unique for its customers?
For something like some the product like AI Pentest Copilot, it's difficult to build, right? I mean, I think we are one of the best engineers that I personally know. So it took us 4 years. It took us 2 years to build the Pentest Copilot tool that we have now launched this last month itself. It's a fairly detailed tool to build. It's not easy, right? How do you make AI hack? Just if you think it through, it's not that it's a great problem to solve. If you can try questioning chat gpt or prompting chat gpt, you can realize how what kind of response it will give, right? And especially with almost all the llms putting in guardrails onto their own models, it's more and more difficult for an getting an ai to give you such kind of responses, which could probably be a hack or a malicious thing for according to that llm, right? So that's difficult, right? So we started off building our own llm as well for security. So we are going in detail and trying to build a more technical product, right, which is difficult to replace. Definitely there are companies who might get into who are also solving the same challenge side by side us, but I think market would be so large that competitors can accommodate each other, and actually having competitors is actually a benefit, right? If you don't have a competition, it's difficult for the market to grow. But if you have two or three competitors across the globe who are actively investing in the same space, it actually helps you to get more customers very easily, right? Uh, People think that okay, if I don't have competitors, it's actually easier for me to get customers. But I think it's reverse. If every of your competition is in early days itself, it's actually easier for you to grow in the market, right? Because everybody is investing in the same market. So that happened with Swiggy, Zomato as well, Ola, Uber in India, Rapido then came, and then Ola, Rapido, Uber with for auto and bikes. So everybody grows as and when the competitors actually invest as well. Uh, it's a good challenge to have. Uh, Talking about bug bounty, what was your exact question there?
So, when you started BugBase,
Yeah.
BugCrowd and other platforms like HackerOne, Synac were already existing in the market. So, what made BugBase so unique that you were able to disrupt the Indian market so quickly?
Yeah, so we started. So obviously, like any platform, like a bug crowd or hacker one, is also a SaaS platform. We are also a SaaS platform. So something like a SaaS platform, first, it's very customizable for each market, right? What we did was we understood problems of an Indian customer rather than a global customer first, and that's how we started out. Then we started building out customization for global customers. Then we added more such features. So when you talk to 200, 300, 400 customers across the globe, you understand what are some challenges that are not being solved by other organizations. The simplest of things was, how do you get your internal application tested out? So we started building something called as bug-based VPN servers, wherein researchers can now access the internal applications of a particular organization via bug-based VPN, and through that, bug bounty hunters can actually do the testing, right? All of such minute things is when you realize, when you actually speak to the customer, right? Whitelisting of credentials. So what generally happens is, if it's a B2B portal, or even something like a bank, right? Bank would never allow somebody to um, directly test on their public environment. Or in fact, I might not have a bank account with a particular bank who is hosting a bug bounty program. At that point, bank would have to give you some kind of testing credentials. So one thing is them creating 50 credentials and then assigning it to the researchers, but sometimes that's not possible because of data policy itself, right? What they do is they take in your details and they whitelist your details onto the platform, right? So all of those things come in as and when you speak and understand the problem of your local customers. So that's how we started. And the point of service that we provide is exceptional, just because of time region. Could be the time region wherein hacker one is in US, India, we are in India. That's a benefit for us. And data policy loss, right? Vulnerability data of any organization going outside India is not that good of a thing, right? People want in their vulnerability data to stay in India itself just because of data protection laws. So that's also one thing. Integrations with local platforms, right? A lot of customers here, probably not just platform, but of also services, right? So a lot of cybersecurity is outsourced in India. So you partner with vendors, particularly India, you work with them, build out a great relationship, and they help you in sales as well as servicing the customer, right? So all of these things, minute details which you think that cannot really matter, but do matter a lot, right? So such things really helped us.
Right. So one of the main pain points in the industry is always the talent shortage for cybersecurity. So do you think bug bounty platforms like BugBase can be a launchpad for early careers?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of our customers also hire bug bounty hunters who have identified vulnerabilities onto their programs, right? So, naturally, you want somebody who can understand your applications, understand your infrastructure into your security team, who can actively find critical vulnerabilities in your application, who has a great understanding. Let's say if it's a web application, web, mobile infrastructure, or cloud in general, right? So all of these things, and somebody who is actively researching in security, right? That makes a proper security analyst or a security engineer. To get somebody like that, a bug bounty hunter generally fits a good role, right? So if a bug bounty hunter is finding more and more vulnerabilities into a particular organization, better you hire them, right, rather than paying keeping on paying them, right? So definitely that's multiple offer letters would have gone through our platform. And bug bounty hunters also appreciate that, wherein companies they are engaging with the most are hiring them from bug bounty program.
Right. So you mentioned earlier that your team has one of the best engineers, right? And even I believe the same that you have some of the best hackers and some of the best engineers working actively to build bug-based forward. The talent which you have in your team are both who are certified and some of them are also not certified. So what is your advice to the youth that should they pursue certifications like OSCP or should they just stick to gaining hands-on skills if they want to ultimately get a job within cybersecurity?
I mean, companies like us generally don't look into certifications that much, but overall global companies might. So uh, I might not be the right person to just say something related to somebody's career on that particular part, but I can tell my take on how certifications impact. Some certifications are actually really great in terms of building practical knowledge and just to enhance your skill set into security. Something like OSCP, right, or OSWEs. These are great certifications to enhance your skill set as well. If you're doing it correctly, please appreciate, please try to get a certificate. But if you're just doing it for the sake of getting a job or a career option, don't do it probably, right? It is tough thing to do, but when you do something like an OSCP, but you do it via dumps, there are a lot of dumps available, or answers that you can practice, or multiple things that are available globally through which you can just prepare for the exam and maybe pass, right? There might be a chance that you pass. But when you start giving interviews, smart people will come in, take your interview, and they'll realize you've just done a certification for the sake of certification. These certification are expensive, starting for, let's say, 1 lakh, 2 lakhs as well. Some certifications, you might just are waiting, wasting your money over there, right? If you're doing actually for your skill development and showcasing that you got the real skills, please do it. Go ahead. My co-founder has done all of the OSCP certifications, OSWE, CEH, everything that you might be thinking. He has done it all, right? Because he has been a hacker from very early days. He has been enhancing his skill set, and only after that he has been giving out. So he's one of the best hackers that I know. So if you're doing it that way, best thing to do, right? But if you're just doing it for the sake of getting a job, might not do it. So a lot of new startup companies actually focus on practical skills, your bug bounty data, the vulnerability submissions that you have done across companies who have a bug bounty program, right? So bug bounty is also considered a lot while you are getting hired. So these things do matter. So focus on building your practical knowledge and then go ahead and do certifications. Don't do the reverse.
Right. So you mentioned that a lot of these global companies, they do prefer certifications. And I think because of that, a lot of skilled but uncertified candidates, they just get skipped out of the entire hiring cycle. And this is why we actually started Cyber Unbound. So what made you choose Cyber Unbound? What made you hire vetted security engineers from the platform, and how was your experience in general with Cyber Unbound?
Yeah, so we are a very fast growing company. We need people today, right? So if you're hiring, we need somebody to start working with us today, right? And going through standard procedure of, just putting up a Google form, somebody getting into from a LinkedIn jobs or any other career options. They come in, they fill up their form, we filter the form, we take an interview. Takes our time, goes, takes at least 3 4 weeks for the researchers to join in as well, because they might be working somewhere else. It's a painful job, right? When we get almost 1,000 applications for every single role that we might be putting up. What Cyber Unbound helps us is to get vetted engineers, vetted security folks just today, right? Uh, just at the moment when we need, we have them ready and we can directly schedule the interviews. We trust the filtering process that you have set up, the vetting process that you have set up, and definitely only after that we start interviewing the people. Still hadn't we have had a great experience wherein we have chosen people who we have interviewed with from them, from Cyber Unbound. But it could have been the cases when, let's say, if even if we did not find the right match, but it's a great service for us, right? Wherein we have gotten people to start interviewing just from the day after we had the requirement, right? So for a fast growing company like us, definitely it's a real worth, wherein vetted researchers are directly coming at your disposal.
Thanks for the feedback, Kathal. So, Kathal, because you're one of the youngest entrepreneurs in India building in cybersecurity, many aspiring entrepreneurs they look up to you. Many college students would be hearing this podcast. Do you think your journey with building BugBase has been truly rewarding? And do you recommend college students to follow a similar path like you, to drop out of college and follow their passion?
It's I mean, I would not suggest somebody to just drop off because I have said. It's up to them, that if they feel that okay, there should be enough passion and vision that you see in next 4 years, that a college degree, comparing, just compare the benefits and pros and cons of getting a college degree and building out a business, right? So we also dropped out only after we raised the venture capital round. So that you need to analyze the risk, right? So if people are coming in investing in you, definitely worth dropping out or taking a leave from college, checking it out if your company is working or not. But if not, probably complete your degree, right? At least you have a backup option there.
Right. So, because see, BugBase is a success story, right? There are many things which can go wrong in a startup which might not work out. What is your advice to Indian parents for their approach and for their response when their child comes to them and says that, hey, I want to drop out because I just want to follow my passion, but there might be a huge risk of them just failing at it. So, what should be the parents of Indian approach, as well as what is the true insight which you can give to college students that what are they actually signing up for when they actually choose to drop out?
Yeah, simply side by side work it out, right? I mean, college, it's never too hectic. You can definitely work it out. Don't go to classes, drop some work, do focus, do work on your project 12 hours a day, right? Do, let's say, if not 12 hours, just complete your work every single day that you are putting and just launch, right? Launching it itself is necessary. And then go to parents. Before going to parents, showcase something uh, that you have built, right? It could be an amazing product, it could be an amazing sales revenue. Everything that you can showcase could help them to actually analyze your future ahead, right? Every parent is actually thinking for only a good for their kids, right? They are not just hampering you just because they want to, but they actually care about you, right? They care about your future, they care about how you will turn up after 5 years, right? And they don't want you to be jobless, for example. So all these things matter a lot. Try it out, building side by side as well, right? We did that as well for almost 10 months before we raised round. So building out a product side by side of college is a great thing to do. Start investing time into that. Start full efforts. You don't you, if you lose once, you're then the startup will not come, right? So start building out side by side. Maybe start doing freelancing for the first year of college. Earn some resource, earn some money that could actually help you go through registering of the company, registering of your startup, and then putting in enough time through which you can actually run a business as well, right? So uh, doing side by side BugBase is a good side by side college is a great advice to start off. But then for a parent, definitely you need to, every parent has their own opinions, but you need to actually see where your kid is also coming in from. If they are actually able to showcase great results, if they can showcase that somebody is backing them, it may not be investor but actual clients, right? If I have 10 clients, I'm generating, let's say, 2 lakhs of revenue as well per month, right? 2 lakhs might not be a lot, but for a college student who is generating 2 lakhs at second year of their college, by the end of their college or by the end of 4 years, they might be earning more than average student who is earning in India, right? So all of those things matter a lot. And with the new education policy that is coming in, you know, can take 1 year drop, 2 year drop from college, and if it doesn't work out, join back the college and start working. Right. So, there are multiple options that you can actually work out with your college as well. There are startup incubators in the college that will help you get into the market. Right. They'll help you connect with the clients as well, customers as well, get you connected with venture capitalists. So, a lot of things that matter here. So, if you are really passionate and if you can showcase your traction to your parents, then might be worthy to start off taking a sabbatical from college, right, for a year or two, then see where it goes. Most startups do shut down in 2 years, right? So 90% of startups, I would say, even people who are starting after college or even at the age of 40, any startup in general, they do tend to shut out, right? So 90% of them do shut down, and that's just because of very difficult it's difficult to build a business, right, at the end. So even though you end up raising funds or end up getting more customers early on, it could be a thing that, after 2 years it does not does not make you that wealthy enough, right? If it's just the money part. But what happens here is, because if you are working on a startup for 4 years, you get a lot of relations, a lot of customers, or a lot of people who can actually get you jobs much more worthy of what you would get from a college, right? That's all of those things do matter. Your personal speaking ability, your personal communication skills of building relations with people across the years will definitely take you the long way, right? For me, let's say, if even if I have to switch to a career role, now, because I've worked with such different kinds of customers in such different geographies, building out products which are more complicated, and I have experience in all single fields. Right? I've worked in with legal team, finance team, operational team, tech team. I got experience more than anyone, right? Because I'm a founder building in this space. So if I get into any job role, because of my network itself, I have people in all kind of industries that I'm directly connected to. I don't need to go through an HR form to get a job out, right? So such benefits do come in with building out a business, but you need that, that's something you need to ensure that you have your social equity up and you are building out relationship with people you are meeting.
Right. So because you travel the world so rapidly, you have attended a lot of these conferences in Dubai, in US, in Singapore. What's one thing which you see which is lacking in India's startup ecosystem as well as India's education system, which restricts India to produce more young founders like you?
I think it's already growing, right? I mean, a lot of even after when we dropped out from the college, a lot of other people did drop out as well, right? So uh, that I mean, again, building a startup should not be a function of dropping out of college, right? It's only in general itself startup failing rate is so high, dropping out of college might not be a mindful decision for somebody else as well, right? So it depends upon the situation that you might be you are at, right? You should also have economic like backing of your parents. Not everyone in India has that, right? A lot of the parents would depend on their child getting a job after college and then supporting them back, right? So luckily for me, I got that backing from my parents, and I could actually take 2 years of leave that could, I can actually handle and go ahead. I did not have any dependencies, right? So that helps. Not everyone in India would have that dependency, right? So not in India, but anywhere across the globe as well, right? If you have dependency, you cannot just start a startup, right? Because you might not be earning for a couple of years, right? Maybe 4, 5, 6, 10 years as well, and after that as well, there are chances that it all goes to zero, right? So building a financial backing generally helps. So start off doing something that could give you support for a longer time. It could be your parents, or it could be through your jobs, it could be through your freelancing projects as well, right? So definitely start off either if you're in college, if you're for sure that if you want to build a startup after your college, start off generating revenue wealth for you in the college itself. Start doing freelancing. If not possible, start building out backing, financial backing after college. Work for some time, do freelancing side by side, save up money, invest money as well, and then start a startup. So that financial backing is important to have. Now, talking about what's lacking in India, I think we need to first learn to take risk, right? There's still people that don't take risk a lot, right? Even speaking about side by side working with college, not a lot of people actually do that, right? People are still in their phase of, work, doing studying into college, going partying out with their friends, or enjoying in college societies, or all of those things, right? A good thing to do, enjoy your time definitely, but maybe start working side by side, start earning even 5,000, 10,000, 15,000 for a kid in college. It's a great amount, especially in India, right? Which if I see abroad, people do start work really early, right? I mean, they from 16 or 17, 18 age, they start working and they start earning, right? So handling personal finance becomes a great importance, right? So you take that risk. I mean, might get point 0.2, point 0.5, point 0.3, point 0.8 CGPA down by working, but you are also earning and getting practical knowledge, right? So doing such things is important. Second comes the practical knowledge itself. Don't just focus on theoretical knowledge, right? It's I mean, Indian education policies across last 50 years, or after independence itself, have been really theoretical first, right? It's only now after the new education policy, a lot of practical inputs are coming in as well, right? So, grow your practical knowledge as much as possible. Definitely colleges across the years, I think 10 years, 15 years down the line, will have more practical courses. At least I hope so, into their curriculum, right? But till the time that's not done, you have an open internet. We are a generation with internet to our hand, right? And everything is available freely on YouTube, or there are books for doing or learning things, right? Start building things, right? You cannot just keep reading things, keep viewing YouTube videos just to build out a project, right? Build a project. I guess what has helped me the most is building a project. I start building a project and then reverse learn my journey, right? If I am building a web application, I'll fix my goal that I need to build a web application of this kind. Then I'll Google it through of how things can actually lead me to building this project, right? What people will do is they'll learn a particular language first, then a framework first, all of that thing, and then build a project. But reverse generally helps most, right? I mean, you get a lot of other errors and issues that can also come in while building a project if you go from a top down approach. That's definitely there. Third is, we do see a lot of influential people on Instagram, but people in general who are technically sound are not that great at communication, right? So try to speak up with people through events, right? Start attending college events as well, like hackathons. There are multiple CTF events. While you are technical, it's also important for a great founder to be good at communication, right? You'll be speaking with investors, you'll be speaking with your clients, you'll be speaking with stakeholders, most importantly, your employees. If you cannot build that trust in your employees by speaking, you just will not have a successful business, right? If people cannot trust you, they'll not work for you. Money comes secondary, right? But if I cannot uh, showcase my value to a particular employee, how will they trust me and work with me, right? For them, it's a risk that a startup goes down in 2 months and they are then jobless again, right? So somebody will not work with me if I cannot showcase them the value. So important is communication is really important, and I actually learned it through. I was actually very introvert and really sucked at communication, but now I actually read sales and marketing and try to build my social equity on LinkedIn. So that's something that you have to take steps, and over the years it's not something that it's like gymming, right? You don't get body in the very next week, right? You need to work it through for a year, 2 year, 3 year to start seeing changes, right? And only after that, after a long term thing, you'll see a major shift in you, right? So uh, doing and building your communication is important. And fourth would be upskilling yourself in other industries, right? Somebody who is an engineer might not have a great knowledge of sales and marketing. Similarly, sales and marketing people will not have understanding of tech. But for a founder, it's important for being cross functional, right? Uh, we can start off by being specialist, but we need to be great generalist, right? I mean, we need to ensure that we are good at every single function, or we at least understand every single function, right? Could be that, okay, I have multiple co-founders, then we have distributed the work, and then my specialists are actually working under me, right? So still I need to be a good generalist to ensure that, okay, my product, let's say if I'm a CTO needs to ensure that the marketing team and the product team are actually in sync, right? The product which is the CTO is building, the product is actually getting marketed by CMO, right? So they need to work together, right? So such cases, the cross-functional things will happen, and people need to have cross-functional knowledge, right? So CXOs, founders are actually generalists to a great extent, right? We started off as specialists, but now we are generalists, right? So start building out your knowledge base in other industries as well, other than your core domain. So these 4 5 things actually help you a lot.
So, you mentioned about students producing great results to their parents before making any bold steps. And you have raised funds from 100x.vc to BIM.vc. You also mentioned that what should student do to actually ensure that this startup achieves success. You had waited 10 months before actually raising funds. So, what should one thing students should actually focus on within those 10 months to actually convince VCs to invest in 19-year-olds or 20-year-olds? And just give us one thing which students should really focus on. Because if anyone compares BugBase with any successful startup, they'll always find all the checkboxes filled. You have a great team, you have great co founders. The co founders have really good skills within the domain which you guys are operating out of. You have a great product, great MVP, everything it check marks. So, what should one student do within 10 months to actually convince VCs to invest in them?
I mean, I didn't knew that there was a checklist. First of all, thank you so much for that. I'm glad that we take all the checklists. But VCs would invest in business, right? And then, I mean, definitely the core part is how a founder take how the founder is taking up that problem. But the core focus that they'll also have is the problem and the solution to that problem, right? So if you are really good at justifying that solution, the right problem and the right solution, right? If you can do that, the first venture capital or the first round of your VC should be easier. The first 10 months that we took was to understand the market ourselves, right? What young people do and what any first time founder would do is build a product based on their biasness, right? Naturally, I think that, you know, I think almonds are really great. Roasted almonds should be sold more. Let me just build a D2C product selling just roasted almonds, right? I love roasted almonds, so I'm pretty sure other 10 folks of my age would also do that, and that's a great market to be in. One thing to look at it, but how do you actually know, right? You need to gather feedback from your real customers, right? So 10 months time, actually we were in college, so that was also one delay. But side by side, gathering feedback from actual customers, building product to an extent which actually suits the market requirements, right? So all those things really help us a lot. So it's not easy to get the right feedback, right? So you go to people, start questioning them, everybody would give you different answers. How do you ensure that you get actual insights out of those feedback calls, right? It just should not be that, okay, you are getting on a 30-minute call with somebody, but you're not actually getting the right insight, right? You need to be prepared for those feedbacks. And how do you make them into the great insights that you might be looking at? It could be that, BugBase would not have been a thing that if I would not have gotten the right feedback from the CISOs early on, right? So within that amount of time itself, through LinkedIn and through other platforms, I reached out to people, somebody was signing up for a demo, reached out to us, and we started gathering feedback. So that actually helped us a lot. And showcasing a VC or any investor how this is the right problem to solve and that could lead to a lot of money is any VC would invest in you, right? So you need, again, comes down to you being a great at communication. I was actually not the one who was sort of great at communication. I had Dhruv, my co-founder, leading investor relationships for us, right? So it matters how you actually position yourself into the market to the VCs as well. More than 19 years old, definitely that matters first. Then comes your ability to take risks, right? It's all about how at a situation which is like a do or die situation, will you take a decision which is actually very high rewarding but high risk, or will you just be stable and keep going, right? Anyone would suggest you to go for any VC would suggest you, or any founder as well, I would also suggest you to go with something which is high risk high reward, right? Taking that decision is really bold, right? And nobody at the age of 19 might do it, right? Third point is having that vision. Most of us will have like really small vision at an age of 18 or 19, right? Even having 25 lakhs or 30 lakhs at that point is really great for us, right? But while somebody is investing in you, they are talking about crores of rupees, not just 100 crores, 1000 crores, 8000 crores, 10,000 crores, and how it's a next unicorn, decacorn in the industry, right? So how to generate that amount of wealth, you need to think it through, right? Even though, let's say today I speak to any 19-year-old and I'll say, okay, I can give you 5 crores just right now, but how do you use that 5 crores, right? You don't know that actually. I also didn't knew. I mean, how do you utilize 5 crores of rupees, right? And such that it gives return. Definitely I can buy myself 2 yachts in Dubai or to stays across the world, right? All of those things I can do. And I need to run a business, right? For at least next 12 months to 18 months, I need to utilize that funds to build a great business and high growing business. How do you do that? Nobody actually knows an answer to that if they have not worked in an industry before and they have prior experience to that. So such questions need to be identified by ourselves internally, right? So only then investor would first, you need to believe in yourself, and then an investor would believe in you, right? So such things matter a lot, and you need to have a larger vision. It cannot be just 30 lakh, 40 lakh, 1 crore, 2 crore, 10 crore, right? It needs to be much higher than that. Reaching first $1 million is one thing, but how do you reach $10 million? How do you reach $100 million? How do you reach $1,000 million? I mean, may not be the exact path, but you need to at least have thought it through, right? You should at least have the path in your mind. It may be the wrong path. It could be the wrong path, and 100% I'm of surety that it would be the wrong path, right? Because if you have not reached 1 million, how do you know how you will reach 10 million with the same path, or the 100 million or 1,000 million, right? So, but you need to have thought it through, right? Only then you will be able to convince someone else that, okay, I know that I'll be able to reach here.
Right. So it's 2025. What's new for BugBase? Any new projects? Any new collaboration this year? Any new announcement would you like to share with people who follow you regularly?
I mean, we are actively launching our Pentest Copilot tool to all the enterprises across the globe, and we just launched it last month. So if you're an enterprise, you're looking for an automated pen testing or red teaming activity, do check it out. We'll be happy to schedule a demo and get it ahead, and happy to help you out over there. Yeah.
Perfect. Any last advices or any other insights you would like to share with the young entrepreneurs, aspiring entrepreneurs, college students who might be watching you?
I think be capitalist, right? Know your finances really well, know your unit economics really well, your expenses, your profits, your revenues. You need to be really handy on all those things. You need to ensure that, okay, if I'm spending X amount, I need to make at least 100x of that amount in a particular time frame. Be really good at your finances, personal, corporate, any finances. Knowing unit economics of every business is important. Only then you can be a great negotiator. Second would be become a great negotiator, right? Try to speak to as many people you can, and be a great negotiator helps in every situation. Even getting a restaurant booking at a premium hotel helps you if you're a great negotiator, right? All two things that actually help you out a lot in the build in journey of a building a business. And be humble to everyone, right? Try to help everyone else, try to build good relations with everyone, and put in your full effort wherever possible to help anyone else. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Kathan, for sharing such brilliant advices. Even I'm a college student, and I think I found some of these advices really useful for
Yeah.
building Cyber Unbound forward. And I'm pretty sure that anyone who's watching today's podcast would have learned a lot from your knowledge. So thank you so much, Kathan, for taking out the time.